Hello and welcome to this episode of Next Review. Happy New Year, 2026. It's been a while since I last made a video, probably close to 2 years, maybe 1 year and a half, something like that. So the last video was back in 2024, maybe summertime. I don't remember exactly. But yeah, it's good to be back. Yeah, so in this video, I'm gonna go over some basic Linux commands. As always, I'm gonna do a demonstration of the commands so we can see how we can actually use this rather than just discussing this theoretically. And so I'm currently logged into my it's one Ubuntu server. This is through I have a Visual Studio open. So I created an instance. I will create a server in my AWS account. So let me just show you that real quick. So this is my AWS accounts. So if you look on the left here, you have EC2, which is the instance. So we have the actual instance if you want to see what you have available. So this is the instance that I'm currently running. So this is the current state running. And if you want to see some additional details about the instance, you can just click on it and you can see you have a bunch of details. You have the private IP4 address. If you want to connect to it privately to the network, to the private network, you have subnet ID. So this is the sub network that it belongs to. Security, just to show you the security group. So I have 422 open, which is for logging in to SSH. This is how I'm able to log into Visual Studio. So I have 422 open. This is HTTPS and this is HTTP in case I want to access the server through the web. In case I want to maybe install the web server, Apache or Nginx, whatever. And to be able to connect to it, I'll have to go through these ports. So that's why I have this open. Anyway, so let's go back to the terminal. Okay, so I'm gonna go over some commands. So we have the first one is pwd, which is print working directory. This just shows you your current working directory or your current folder, in other words. So in our case, we are located under home and Ubuntu. So this is our user's Ubuntu. I think we can also do who am I to see who the current login user is. So this tells you the current login user is Ubuntu. So this is our current working folder. Let me just go back. Yeah, so we have home/Ubuntu. And our next command is ls, which lists the contents of your working directory or any directory that you want to target. In this case, since we're not targeting anything, you're just going to list the content of this current working directory. So if we do ls, what we see is that within this folder, within this directory, we have other directories and other files. We have config.yaml, new, old. Some of these are files, some of these are directory. We're gonna see how you can tell which one is which soon. So yes, we have all these things that are contained within the within this folder, within this directory. We also have other variations of this command. We have ls-a. This one shows you even folders or files that are hidden within this folder. So you have if you can notice, some of these files or folders begin with dot at the beginning. So it means that they're hidden normally. So if you just do a normal ls, you're not gonna be able to see this. So once you do ls-a, it reveals the hidden files and the hidden folders. So you're able to see some additional stuff. So that's that. There is also ls-l. So remember I mentioned that if you want to be able to tell if the file, whether now we're looking at a file or a directory, so you can see it through this command ls-l. So if you press enter, so now you see some additional details about this. So if you look at the left side, I'm just gonna use this as an example. Okay, I'm gonna use this and this one, since this one is a folder, this one's a file. And so the very first, the very first letter that you see, the very first character. So in this case, if it's a D, that tells you that this is a folder or a directory. And if the first character is a dash, that means this is a file. So this one is a file, and this one is a directory. So if you can see, some of these begin with D and some of these begin with dash. So every one that begins with the D is a directory or a folder, and the ones that begin with the dash are files. And after that, you have these characters, which are permissions of this, either the folder or the file. So these are the permissions, the access permissions. So essentially tells you who can open the file, who has the permission to read it, or to, if it's, let's say it's an executable file, and who has the permission to actually execute the file. And the next one, this one is the owner of, so the file owner, or in this case, the folder owner. And this one is the group in which the folder belongs to. And this one is the size of the folder, and this one is just the dates. And I think this is the time that it was created. So that's that. So let me clear my screen. What else we have? Blah, blah, blah. Oh, there's another one. We have ls dash, another variation of the ls command, ls dash r, capital R. So what this one does is, beyond just showing you what the files and the folders are, it also shows you the subfolder, contents of the subfolders. So in this case, we have we have these folders and files that you can actually see, that we can see. And then since this config is a folder, it kind of opens up if there's any sub contents within the folder. In this case, this one doesn't have any content, it's just empty. So we don't see anything else. And this is also a folder, and it has a file within it. So we see this thing called new file. And this is also another folder. It has a file within that, a file called old file. Yeah, so essentially that just shows you what you have within it. So beyond just showing the folder and the file, it shows you the content of the folders. So you have that variation. Next command, let's see, we have cd. So cd just goes into, you can target a particular folder that you want to go into, or you can also go backwards. So in this case, if you relist content. So let's say we want to go inside the folder called config, we can do cd and then config. You don't even have to tap the full thing. You can just begin and press tab, it will complete it. And then you can press enter. Now you can see we are inside the folder config, right? So now if you press ls, what we see is the contents of config. In this case, it's empty. To double check our current working directory, we can go back to our first command, which was pwd. So now this shows us that we are currently located in config. So we have Ubuntu config. And if we want to go backward, we do cd dot. So now this takes us back. Now if we do pwd, now we're back to home in Ubuntu. Okay. And if we want to go back 2 steps, so let me see if let's say we go back to where we were previously. There's actually a way to do that as well. I think if we do cd dash, it should revert to your previous folder. Let me see. Yeah. So cd dash essentially just it takes you back to the last folder you were in. Okay. So if I do another cd that, it will just do the opposite of what I just did. It will just take me back to the Ubuntu. So let me do that. Yeah, so it takes me back to the home, which is Ubuntu. Anyway, so yeah, so if let's say we are currently in config and we want to go back 2 steps, so we want to go back 1 step to Ubuntu, then another step to home. So we're going to do cd data / and data. Now this takes us back 2 steps. Now we are at home. Okay, and if we do that, this will revert to the previous folder. So now we're back to config. Okay. So that's that. We also have the command. We also have another variation of cd, which is cd tilde. Tilde just takes you to your home directory, regardless of where you currently are. All right. So for our case, our working directory or our home directory is home Ubuntu. So essentially, this home Ubuntu. So if I do this, and then I do pwd, so I'm gonna be back here. But let's say I go somewhere else. Let me see, I go to root. So now we are at the very, very beginning. So let's say I want to go back to my home directory. I can just do, regardless of where I am, I can just do cd tilde, and it'll take me back to my home directory. So home and Ubuntu. So yeah, so that's that. What else we have? We have McDear. So if we want to create a folder, so we can do McDear. So let's see if we do ls. Let's say, let me go into, okay, now I'm gonna go into the config since we don't have anything inside config. So we don't have, currently this is empty. So if I wanna create a folder within the config folder, so the command is McDear. So McDear, then you just give the file, the folder name. Let me see, I wanna call it new folder, or just for an example. So new folder, then press enter. Now if I press ls, now I see there is a folder or a new folder, right? And just to let you know, it's actually a folder. Again, if you remember, we're going to ls-l. And this tells us it's a folder because it begins with a D. The first character is a D. So that tells you that it's a folder. Oh, I actually forgot to mention the actually one. And this one is the number of links, to the folder or the file. Okay. So we have that. And another command to create a file. We just saw how to create a folder. Now to create a file, we have another command. It's called touch. So let's say we have a folder now, a new folder. We want to create a file within the folder. So we can go inside the new folder folder. And currently it's empty. We can do, the command is touch. Touch, we can call this new file. Now if we do ls, we see that we have a contents. If you want to verify that it's actually a file, again, you can do ls-l. And you see that the first character is a dash. So this is a file. Okay, so that's that. And next command is rm. So let's say we want to go back to our home. Again, that's cd tilde. This takes you back to the home directory, which in our case is a home Ubuntu. Right. So again, if we want to see the subfolders of the folders that we're looking at, ls-r, right? So now in this case, we can see some additional things that we created under config. We created this other folder called new folder, right? So we have this additional item that we can now see. So let's say we want to delete things now. So to delete a file, you just do rm, and so let's say we're gonna delete which one is the file. So do that text. So we're gonna delete this one. And if we do ls, now we don't see to that text, so it's deleted. So okay, now let's say we want to delete a folder. Let's try to do the same thing with a folder. So we're gonna do rm, which one is a folder, so we can check which ones are folder by doing this. So the ones that are the ones that have the first character as a D are folders. So we have 3: config, new, and old. So we're gonna try to delete one of them. So we do rm. Let's say we new, for instance. So it says, well, rm cannot remove new is a directory. So that's only for files. So for the directory, there's another command we have to use, rm-r or recursive. So this is what you use to delete a folder or a directory. So if you now do the same thing, now it's gone. Now if you do ls, so we have old, but we don't have new. All right. So to delete a file, you just do rm. To delete the folder, you do rm-r. And then the name of the folder. Next one, move. So we have this command called move. All right, let me see. So move, you can use it to rename files as well. To rename files or to actually move stuff, or to move a file into a folder. So let's say I have a file called config.yaml. I want to rename it to a different name. So I can do move config .yaml, and I want to call it, I don't know, new name. I just want to give it a new name. So if I do this move config.yaml new name, so this is what I'm looking at. This is the name I want to give it. So if I press enter, I'm gonna press ls. So now the name changed to new name, right? So you can do that to rename files. But you can also use this to actually move a file. Let's say you want to move a file into a folder. You can do that as well. So if I clear my screen, I go back to this. So let's say I want to move this file into the folder config, for instance. So currently, if you look now, let's move it to import. Let's see what we have inside the folder. So if I want to see the contents of old, I can also do this. This shows me within the folder old, I have old file. So let's say I want to move this file, new name, into this folder, and do move new name, and then then I list the folder. In this case, old. No, actually not this way. Otherwise, it's just gonna rename it to old. So I can do dash old. Maybe that's all right. No. Yeah, dash old. So this should do it. And if I do ls, so now I don't see file new name is no longer available. But if I check now ls old, I should see the file new name and the file old file. So now we have two files. So the file that we had previously and the one that we just moved. All right. Okay. Yeah. Pum, pum, pum. What else we have? Oh, copy. The copy. So we can also do a copy command. Let's say we want to copy. Let's say we want to copy this config, and then we give another name, what folder, which we should have the same contents. We're gonna say new config. Right. So let's see. Okay, forgot. We need a dash R. This is good. This is a directory. So without, if it's a file, you just do cp. In this case, the directory, so we need to add the dash R. Yeah, so we can click tap arrow to go back. So we need to add -r. Okay, let's try that again. So now let's do ls. So we now have config and new config, and both of these folders should have the same content, right? Same content. So if we do ls-r, we should see the same subfolders within each one. So if we go to config, we say something for new folder, and then within there is a config, new folder, blah, blah, blah. But if we also go to new config, we see the same thing, new folder. So they have the same subfolders. All right. So yes, we essentially copy that. So let me clear the screen. That's for copying, and for file, if these were files, you just do CP without the -r, so you just be CP. So if it's if you're copying a folder, you do CP, then you add a -r, right? And then the current folder that you're copying, and then you give a name of the new folder. So the current folder, then new folder, something like that. Next command is history. So history just shows you all the all the commands that you've been running. So if I do history, so I'm gonna see all the commands that I have been running. You know, this one is a good way to kind of see what you've been doing. All right, history. You can also do history, and then so there's another variation history. Let's say I want to see the last 5 commands. There is -5. Actually, no, that's invalid. Maybe it's just history 5. No, okay. Yeah, so history just add a number, then it gives you the last however many. If in this case 5, it gives me the last 5 commands that I ran. Okay. So we have that. We have clear. Obviously, I'll be doing a lot of clearing. So clear is just gonna clear the screen. So let's say I do another history. Let's not do history. Do something else. And when I clear the screen, to clear the screen, you just right clear and press enter. That's gonna clear the screen. And so let's see. We have another command for cats. Cats prints the content of the file. So it's kind of like print. So let's say I have, so let me create a file. So let me do an echo command. So echo is just so I'm gonna do echo. I'm gonna echo, I'm gonna write something. Let's say hello. My name is next review, right? Hello, my name is next review, and I'm going to place this inside a file called test file. Test file text. So I'm gonna do an echo. I'm gonna print this line and then I'm gonna redirect it into a file called test file. Right. So normally, if I don't do this redirection, it's just gonna print this on the screen. But since I'm redirecting it, it's gonna print it inside the file. So if I wanna see what's inside the file, I can use this command called cat. So first of all, before I can do that, I can do ls, and you can see that and I have a file for test file.txt. Since I didn't, so by default, it saves it in the current working directory. I could have also specified the location where I want to save this. So yeah, so to print the contents of that file. I can do cat, then test. Ooh, what am I doing? Okay, what did I do? What did I do? To try to go back. Oh yeah, so cat test. Okay, that's right, the whole thing. There we go. So if I cat that and I press enter, now you see it says, hello, my name is blah, 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 right? Now, I can also add additional content. Let's say I want to print a new line at the bottom of this within the file. So if you go back, let me go back. So I add this. So I'm going to show you one more thing. I'm going to print something else. I'm going to say, add this line at the bottom of the page. But can I use this one? So if I use this, it's just gonna erase everything it's gonna erase this and replace it with, it's essentially gonna erase this in the file and then replace it with this line. So I have to use another symbol. So that it's double arrow. So this means it's gonna add it at the bottom, right? So now if I do cats test file, that's wrong. Test file. Now you see it says, hello, my name is next review. Add this line at the bottom of the page, right? Now to demo, if I had done this without the additional arrow, now what you see is that it's gonna delete this. It's essentially gonna delete everything. So let me change the sentence here. So it's gonna delete both of these and then it's just gonna replace them with whatever I'm gonna write here. So I'm gonna write something else. I'm gonna say replace both lines with this. Again, this is not a command. I'm just writing something random here. So I can say anything really. Can I say that? It's not create any confusion. So I'm gonna say random stuff. Okay. And then essentially it's just gonna replace both of these sentences by this. So I'm gonna click enter. Now if I do cats again, whatever that was, cat file. Now all you see is this. So this is used to redirect command, the output of a command, right? So I had the output of echo and then we redirected that output into this file. And this one, if you want to add additional items within the same file at the bottom without erasing what you already have, you do the double arrow. Okay. Yeah, so that's all I wanted to cover for today. I have another video with some basic Linux commands as well, but this is not to make the video too long, so I'm gonna stop here. Okay, all right, see you next time. Peace.